All right, today we're going on a kind of ghost hunt, but not for the spooky kind. We're talking about something invisible, something disruptive, something that might be haunting your office right now. Now, just so you know, what we're covering here is part 4 of a 10-part tutorial. All our clues are coming straight from a really detailed report by the folks at RFI Detectives. They're part of Virtualization Options LLC. They dug into all the common sources of this weird interference in office buildings. And today, we're cracking open one of their most interesting case files. Okay, so let me ask you something. Does your office Wi-Fi ever just die for no reason? Or maybe you're on a video call and it freezes, or your wireless keyboard just decides to take a coffee break for a few seconds? If that sounds familiar, it might not be a bad connection or a broken mouse. You could actually be dealing with, well, tech ghosts. Yeah, these ghosts actually have a name. It's called radio frequency interference, or RFI for short. So what is it? You know, the easiest way to picture it is to think about the static you get on an old AM radio, right? That crackly noise between stations. RFI is basically that, but it's invisible. And instead of just messing with your music, it's messing with all the tech you need to get your job done. So, according to the RFI Detectives report, most of these glitches can be traced back to one of 4 main culprits. Think of them as the usual suspects in our little investigation. And today, we're opening the case file on just one of those groups: electrical equipment. These are the real silent disruptors, the things hiding in plain sight that are just constantly pumping out this invisible noise all around you. Okay, let's look at our first suspect. And I'm willing to bet you've got one within arm's reach of you right this second. It's the humble power supply and charger. You know, for your laptop, your monitor, your phone, they all have one. So why are these little black bricks such a big problem? Well, it turns out they're one of the most common sources of this interference. See, the way modern adapters work is by switching the electricity on and off super fast. And that switching action, it creates electrical noise. The real kicker is that a lot of the cheaper or older models don't have good shielding to keep that noise trapped inside. So that power strip under your desk, the one with that tangled mess of chargers, yeah, that's basically a little interference party going on. And you weren't even invited.
Okay, suspect number 2. For this one, I want you to just look up. Yep. It's literally all around you, lighting up the whole room. We're talking about your office lighting.
Now, you might be thinking, oh, that's just a problem with those old flickering fluorescent tubes. But nope, it affects modern LEDs too. See, both types of lights often use something called an electronic ballast to work, and this little component generates a ton of high-frequency noise. It can literally fill the entire office with this constant background hum of RFI. So if your lights ever flicker or buzz, that is a major red flag. In a lot of offices, the lights are actually the #1 source of this constant ambient interference. All right, let's move on to our final suspect in the electrical equipment lineup. This one's the big one. It's complex, it's power-hungry, and it's probably humming away in the corner of your office right now. You guessed it, the printer and copier. I mean, these things are absolute beasts when it comes to power. They are jam-packed with motors, high-voltage components, all kinds of complex circuits firing off at once. A big laser copier, especially, just turns out a massive amount of electrical noise. It can even cause little power dips and surges that mess with other stuff plugged in nearby. And that's exactly why one of the simplest fixes is often just to move your important gear, like your Wi-Fi router, as far away from the printer as you can get it. Okay, so we've got our lineup of suspects: chargers, lights, printers, stuff that's absolutely everywhere in an office. So how in the world do you figure out if they're the real culprits behind your tech headaches? What's the #1 clue you should be looking for? And here it is. This is the key insight from the report. The interference from all this electrical gear. It isn't random. It doesn't come and go. It is constant and persistent. It's always there. Here's the best way to think about it. Does your office just have this base level of tech weirdness? You know, a low-grade frustration that never truly goes away completely? If that sounds right, then your electrical equipment is almost certainly the cause. It's like a constant background hum of interference that everything else just gets piled on top of. And that really is the key takeaway here. If your tech problems feel constant, like they never fully disappear, your electrical gear is suspect #1. So now you have the clue, your investigation can begin. Take a look around your own workspace with a detective's eye. What do you think you'll find?